Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, your review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is my Don Fisher. How's your week been?
I've had a really up and down week. Up and down only because, I've had to replace my audio interface that I use for recording and my cable for my headset. The audio interface got here today. We're recording on Thursday, a day later than normal. But then when I went to connect it, there was a short in my headset cable, which I had to order a replacement for that, so it won't be here till Monday. So if I sound different on today's recording, it's because I'm using a shitty blue snowball microphone instead of my professional headset that I normally use. And I'm frustrated by that. But other than that, it's been a really good week. We're getting to play D&D again. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's a funny thing about that. I don't think it's a big deal if I use regular names, does it? Doesn't matter.
No, it's fine.
So Andy had explained to me that Robert is not the best when it comes to tabletop games. That certain games that they play, he just doesn't learn the rules or forgets certain things, and it's a problem. And one of my biggest things when I new people want to play D&D is I'm like, don't pick a magic user. Magic is a very complicated thing. This motherfucker immediately says wizard, and I'm like,
Yeah.
And then to make things worse, he fucked up right away. During character creation.
I'm going to have to go in and see what in the hell's wrong with it to set it the way it should have been. Because he clearly wasn't doing something right to only have one option.
It wasn't only that, but like he picked Warlock instead of Wizard somehow.
Yeah. But I was looking at his screen. I was like, I don't know why it's giving you these options. We'll go back to it. We'll worry about it later. It was already approaching 2:30 in the morning, and I was tired.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah.
That's what I loved about Mueller. It was just like boom, 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 boom. It was quick with his.
Yeah. I'm excited about his character too. Good Lord.
What's great is I'm not going to be running one campaign. I'm going to be running two.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah. So it's going to be, Bambi's going to be playing. She's been dying to play ever since our last campaign imploded. But she's been wanting to play, so she's playing. And my baby sister's playing, who actually just enjoyed her 30th birthday 2 days ago.
Ooh.
Yeah. And her husband's going to play with us and two of their friends. But it's not going to be every week. It's going to be every other Monday.
Okay.
And I'm going to get nuts with this one because my sister's wanting to run a summoner. But summoners were done away with in 4th edition. They don't have them in 5th edition. And I was like...
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see that in 5th edition, so...
I was like, you know what? There's a way we can figure out to convert a summoner from 3.5 to 5th edition. Yeah, somebody's already done it, and I found it, and I sent her the build for it like 2 o'clock this morning. I was like, hey, if you want to use this type of build, I'm all for it. It'll be fun. So basically, a summoner is going to be like a variant class of Warlock.
Yeah. What's going to be interesting about our campaign, too, is that like we have to do it late. Every Tuesday.
Yeah, every Tuesday it's going to be fucking late as fuck.
Yeah. And which means we're only going to be able to do it for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours at best.
Yeah, because Mark's got to get up for work at like, 5:30 in the fucking morning?
Yeah. So that sucks a bit, but the way that I look at it is if you're doing every other week with those people and it's, those sessions are going to be like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Hours being 2.5 and doing weekly, it's almost the same pace. Well,
Yeah, it really will be.
minus certain things. um,
I'm excited though.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
But
Regardless.
I was telling you this morning, I got that email and I'm getting my Kickstarter that I backed very soon. And I got to thinking, I'm going to run that in somewhere. Once I learn it, I'm going to run it somewhere.
Which what is that thing for? That particular campaign?
It was one done by the Dungeon Dudes. They've run 3 campaigns now. They ran the Dungeons of Drakenheim, which is a world they completely made up on their own. It's not even set in like Faerun, the main world of D&D. It's completely made up world that they created and made a campaign of. And then they did Return to Drakenheim, which was the second part of it. And now they're doing the third part. I think it's called Fate of Drakenheim. But yeah, their Kickstarter got backed in less than 5 minutes when it debuted last year, a little over a year ago. And I went all in on it, and I'll get that hopefully next week.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to it. Which on their YouTube channel, they play it live on Twitch every Tuesday night, but then they upload the video edited down. They upload it to their Facebook page on Fridays.
gotcha.
So if people want to watch it, they can. But yeah, I enjoy it. And since we'll be playing so late, I can go and watch them on Tuesday nights.
You're gonna be able to watch them Tuesday nights?
Well, they play Eastern time. They play from like 6:30 Eastern time to like 9:30. So yeah.
Because what we were talking about was still hopping on about 7 and playing games until those guys are ready.
And 7 would be 10 for me. So.
Oh yeah.
I like how your eyes were slowly moving back and forth across the ceiling while you were trying to do the math.
Yeah, well, because I was sitting there thinking, like, how does that work? But I realized that 7 p.m. for us is 10 p.m. for you already. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, your evening's fucking going to be full on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I completely forgot.
I'm excited, though. A couple other things. I'm going to the pool tomorrow. First time at a public pool. So there's that. And then Saturday is that Pride event that I'm going to. I'm excited about that. Hey, at the very least, there's going to be guest speakers there, special guests and everything. But at the very least, it's a free fucking cookout.
Yeah.
So, as long as fucking people in fucking khaki and fucking blue shirts don't show up with fucking white socks over their fucking heads, it'll be fine.
I was going to say, what, 30 dudes in a U-Haul?
31 dudes in a U-Haul. Fucking idiots.
I've heard a lot of gay things in my life, but that seems probably gayer than going to Pride.
You would think that, with their respective homophobias and what have you, they wouldn't want to be packed that closely together in a truck.
They proved us wrong.
Talk about a sausage party.
No kidding. Well,
how was your week?
Good. Well, decently good. So, as you know, AC's broken in the car, so I have to work at night. But I've been able to come home and kind of hang out with my folks or whatever. But during the day, I actually played all the way through The Quarry, the new horror game made by the guys who did Until Dawn.
Yeah.
I played that from front to back with my mom. We did not do a great job. Got a lot of the characters killed. Quite a bit. But it felt like a proper horror movie. Like you watch something like that and not everyone's gonna survive. There's gonna be characters. And Honestly, like there was I think 2 characters that got killed that we didn't want to die. Like both my mom and I were like, no. So it was like it was good. It was good for us. It was a fun, little experience.
You two will love Until Dawn then.
I know we're gonna do that eventually. I can't say soon because too much shit on my plate as it is right now. But and then next Tuesday, like that's my next Tuesday, by the way. Upcoming Tuesday is get up in the morning, play Fall Guys, the new season, pretty much all day until it's game night, and then when you guys hop on at 7-ish, we'll play fucking Fall Guys until we do D&D.
Okay.
Like that's Tuesday for me, but because y'all know I love Fall Guys.
I never would have known that.
Well, today, I'm playing the shit out of TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which is you could consider it Turtles 5 because it is styled and designed to be very similar to Turtles in Time or
the Manhattan Project,
to a lesser extent those games,
yeah,
but same styling. Visually speaking, it's closer to Turtles in Time.
Gotcha.
But,
you can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I'm not a fan of having to use this microphone.
Yeah, I know. I got you. The other thing is, I was trying to find a movie to watch with my dad the other night. It's just him and I. And I had mentioned, because he was watching some kind of kung fu movie. And I said, "Oh, have you ever heard of Kung Fu Hustle?" And he was like, "No, I've never seen it." And I was like, "Oh my God." So I went and found it and bought it. Or not bought it, I rented it. And we sat there and watched it. He really enjoyed it. And he was like, "I didn't expect this to be a live action cartoon." I was like, "Oh, it is. It's a hilarious live action cartoon."
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Have you ever seen it?
No, I've not.
Oh, I fucking love it. But that was about it this week. It was just, really enjoyed doing that with my mom. And my dad and I finally have scheduled the classes we have to take for home dialysis, which I'm looking forward to because that's going to free up my fucking schedule.
Yeah.
Kind of. Because that's the thing. Right now we go 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like I drive him there. He's there for about 4 hours, and then I go pick him up. And that's, like I said, it's 3 times a week. Home dialysis is going to be 5 times a week, literally every single weekday. And
but you're going to eliminate all that driving time.
You eliminate the driving time and like once I have him hooked up and ready to go, we can just watch a show until it's done. We can just watch something until it's done. And then once he is done, we're good for the day.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Like it's going to be interesting. Like the other positive thing is that because this is a thing on next Thursday, like after we record the podcast, I'll be taken off to go to that class. And one of the first things that my dad and I are going to ask is, how do I become a paid-for caretaker? Because
that's the thing. That's the thing where you live currently. But is that a thing? If you were to move, would that be a thing?
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I think there's a way to handle that if we do end up moving. So, boy, you just put a pit in my gut. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Jesus, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's not your fault. It's just the nature of the beast at the moment. But I hadn't thought about it. Oof. All right.
I've actually thought a lot about it. There's other things I could say that would probably put a pit in your stomach, so I'm not going to right now.
Well, there's a lot that I've already thought about when it comes to that whole scenario, that whole situation.
Yeah.
A ton that I've already thought about. But in regards to next Thursday and in relation to it, I hadn't put a whole lot of thought into it. I did, don't get me wrong, I did. Like, one of my biggest concerns is, getting changing everything over to Texas. And does Texas have the same things for my parents that California does? There's all of those thoughts.
Yeah.
So trust me, it's already on my mind. It was just not in the
I got you.
moment. The other thing that happened this week was all of the E3 type stuff happened.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A ton of it. Good gravy. It wasn't
as opposed
E3.
to bad gravy.
Yeah. What's funny is it wasn't E3 because E3 is dead. If it comes back, I'll be surprised. But
yeah, I don't look for it to ever happen again.
Yeah, I don't know. It might. There's a chance.
Not in the same capacity anyway.
No. But all the game companies still have their big release schedule, release things. And I remember Thursday, during the Summer Game Fest hosted by Jeff Keighley, they were like, and from Tribute Games, Teenage Mutant Turtles Shredder's Revenge. And I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. And over the past year, it was really funny because I the first time they showed the trailer, Mike Patton of Faith No More did the theme song, in a rock version.
Mm-hmm.
And they had kind of done an animated intro to the game that looked like the 80s Turtles. And I was like, I'm in. I've got yes, please. They showed a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, done. Got my money. Just tell me when. A few months later, they were like, we have an announcement for Shredder's Revenge. And I was like, great. Release date? Nope, April O'Neil. Okay, cool. That's a little odd, but I'm cool with it. Let's go. When the game coming out, I'll buy it. A few months later go by, and they're like, we have another announcement. Master Splinter. And I'm like, okay, release date. Please, for fuck's sake, I just want to play the goddamn game. And that was it. And I was like, okay. And it was months before we heard anything. And then they showed some gameplay, and they showed some behind the scenes and how they kind of went into making the game. And I was like, great, you'll love the 80s cartoon. I'm 100% into this. When can I play it? No release date. And so when they showed off this one, I was like, please give us a fucking release date. And keep in mind, this was a whole year had gone by, right? And it starts up and it goes, Casey Jones is playable character. I was like, that makes sense. That's awesome. Great. Casey Jones. Dope. And then it says 6 players online. I went, that's fucking awesome. Release date, though. Please give me a fucking release date. And it says you can also do like multiple players on the same console while playing online. So it's effectively if you and Misty wanted to play, you could play on the same system and play with me. Or whatever you wanted to do in regards to that. And I'm like, just give me a goddamn release date. So finally, at the very end of the trailer, it shows Donatello playing on a Game Boy, right? In pitch black, he's just on a black screen. And he looks behind him, and up above it, it says release date. And I went, oh, fucking finally. It was July 6th or June 16th. And I went, ha! Way to surprise the shit out of me. And then it was and then to make everything even that much bigger, it was and on Game Pass. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was fucking stoked. And the other game that I would say that excited me the most is Squanch Games, the game studio opened by Justin Roiland, who does Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
They have it's still an indie game, but it is a first-person shooter, and they're trying to make it look like a AAA game. But it is, it's called High on Life. And the story is that aliens have come to Earth, captured humans, because the chemical that humans put off when they think gets other aliens high. So that's why humans have been enslaved, just for their body chemistry, essentially. And so you play, I don't know if you play an alien or a human. I didn't catch that part, but You befriend a race of aliens that are guns. They're guns, and they do different things. Think of each of the guns as like a gun that you'd get in Ratchet and Clank, right?
Oh, okay.
Like cool things that they do versus just shooting bullets. But their face is always towards the camera, and each weapon talks. So
That sounds wildly fun.
it's going to be insane. Yeah, that one stuck out to me. There was another one. There's a couple others that I was like, oh, I'm very interested in that. But yeah, the standout to me was Shredder's Revenge and High on Life. I was like, those two are definitely getting played. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. Indie games are usually like what I gravitate towards nowadays because indie games, they do different things. You know, AAA tries to play it safe all the time nowadays, and they don't really kind of go outside their comfort zone. Like even Fortnite just kind of like slowly adds small things to their game, right?
Yeah.
They don't do anything new. So when a game comes out that is like, we're gonna take the first person genre and kind of do something interesting with it, I'm like, oh fuck yes, dude. And that's what had me really excited about High on Life. I was like, that's different. But yeah, that's all on my notes. I do want to, like I said, we're not done talking about it. There have been 70 mass shootings since Buffalo.
How many?
70.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. Y'all, it's guns. It's fucking guns. You can say until you're blue in the face that it's not. Does not matter. It is guns.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I saw a tweet from a Canadian. They're like, you know how many school shootings we've had? They're like 3. Not this year. In history. It's the guns. It 100% is.
I like when people say, oh, well, criminals are still going to get guns even if, you make them illegal. If that's the case, if that's truly the case, then explain to me why a kid had to wait 4 years to be able to buy guns legally to do what he did in Uvalde.
Yeah.
So, like, we're not, like, nobody is saying that, like, hey, a law that tells you have to wear a fucking seatbelt or you have to have car insurance doesn't stop deaths from automobiles. It reduces the number significantly. But no, you want to argue because you think your toy's being taken away.
Fuck your toys. I want them taken away.
I was like, not that you deserve those toys.
I don't give a fuck. I hate guns. I fucking hate them, and I wish there weren't guns on the planet. I really do. Yeah, people are going to find other ways to kill each other, but fuck. It's hard to fucking beat somebody to death with a rock. It's, a little easier to stab somebody with a knife, but you can't stab 19 motherfuckers in the span of 30 fucking seconds spread across so many feet in a classroom, can you? I don't give a fuck about your guns. Fuck your guns. I hate your guns. I hate your fucking Second Amendment. That's bullshit.
Yep.
Anyway,
also Lauren Boebert, apparently this was hilarious to me. Did you hear the thing about her?
Oh, the tweet says she was best when she's on her knees. Did you see that?
I did not see that, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
No, allegedly, like there's no actual evidence, but I like it. I like to think it's true. That she used to be an escort who had to have 2 abortions.
I wouldn't doubt it one iota.
And that's the thing. In no way, shape, or form or should any of us be shaming her for having been an escort or having had 2 abortions.
No.
What we should be shaming her for is being a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, I was going to say I shame her for her hypocrisy.
Which isn't terribly surprising considering the fucking source. But anyway, why don't we move on to reviews? Shall we?
Let's do that. What are we talking about first today?
We're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you remember last week, we're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, Miss Marvel, and the boys' respective episodes that we will get to when we get to that. Respective newest episodes, I guess I should say. But yeah, so Obi-Wan Kenobi, episode 5. This comes off the heels of the infiltration into the Inquisitor's temple base. I don't know what the fuck to call it.
The
Fortress. It is the Inquisitor's fortress. Because it's Inquisitor's fortress or some stupid shit like that. I hate when they I hate when Sci-Fi does that, where they're just like, let's make it a silly name. And I'm like, why? Just call it the Inquisitor's fortress. Keep it simple, stupid. It's like I like the movie Avatar. I hate the name of the element that they were trying to mine.
Oh, unobtainium?
Yes.
See, it's been so long since the original Avatar. And I liked it well enough when I first watched it. But goddamn, I don't fucking give a fuck about a sequel now. It's been 9 fucking years, I think.
Yeah, it's been too long, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't remember that movie was successful based on its groundbreaking 3D technology. That's
Which
it.
Is not groundbreaking anymore.
No, like I think the world that was created of Pandora and the Na'vi and all that kind of stuff is fun. Sure, it's very heavily inspired by other sources of entertainment, media, and whatnot, but so are half the shit you fucking watch anyway. It was an entertaining movie. I ended up seeing it twice. I don't love the fucking movie, but I saw it because the 3D was really fucking cool. And then I started getting headaches from it. I stopped watching it. But anyway, way the fuck off topic on this. Do you have a synopsis for Obi-Wan?
I do. Throughout the episode is intercut a flashback between Obi-Wan and Anakin and their training, and this is before Anakin lost his hand. Because if you watch closely enough, he has both of his regular hands, so it's early on in Attack of the Clones. And it's a lightsaber duel where Anakin is just bound and determined to win at all costs. And Obi-Wan is trying to get through to him. There are different ways to fight, and you don't always have to be so aggressive. That's intercut throughout the entire episode. What happens during the episode, here's a quick run through. We see Kenobi and Leia are tracked to Jabim. Vader promotes Reva to Grand Inquisitor. And once arriving at Jabim, the Empire begins to besiege the facility and deactivates the hangar doors so they can't escape. They're basically locked into their stronghold. Stall for time, Obi-Wan negotiates with Reva and deduces that she knows Vader's true identity, as the only way that she could reduce that was if she saw him massacre all the younglings on Coruscant during Order 66 as a youngling. She reveals essentially she wanted to gain Vader's favor in order to get close to him, and that way she could kill him rather than serve him. But she refuses to accept Obi-Wan's help. The Empire busts in through the facility, breaching the outer doors. Tala sacrifices herself to save Obi-Wan, realizing that there's no way to win without everybody being slaughtered. Obi-Wan surrenders and is taken to Reva. He finally does convince her to turn on Vader when she delivers him. Leia finds the tracker on Lola, disables it, allowing the path, that's what they call this group, allowing everyone to escape before Vader comes in. And that scene where he busts in and the ship transport's taken off and he just grabs it, stops it in midair with the force, and then forces it down to the ground and starts ripping pieces off of it, just big, huge chunks, only to be fooled because the other actual real transport does get away. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's Anakin's fucking strength with the Force too, which is terrifying.
And then that's when Reva comes up behind Vader and tries to take a swing, and he stops her midair, and he's like, "Did you really think I didn't see this coming?"
My
Go ahead.
So I really enjoyed the episode. Really enjoyed the episode. But I saw people online, a ton of Star Wars fans, and I've been seeing it over TikTok and all sorts of stuff, basically say that last week's episode sucked. That's what they're trying to say. And I was like, why do they think it sucks? It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why people think it sucks. And their arguments were always the same kind of like really annoying shit. And then they say this week it was like, oh, it was a redemption. It was such a better episode. I'm like, it wasn't that much better than last week. Like, I'd kind of put them on equal footing, right? And I was trying to sit there and figure out why. And I know why. Because you got the flashback. Because you got like a brief scene that made everyone suddenly happy. And I'm like, y'all are not watching fucking Star Wars for stories. Y'all are watching Star Wars for nostalgia. And I think that's my like biggest issue with Star Wars. Like I couldn't quite nail. I'll put it this way. I couldn't quite nail why watching the show wasn't exactly like my number one thing. Like I love Mandalorian than versus this show, where this show's fine and I enjoy it. It's not bad, but it always kind of just felt like it was unnecessary, and now I feel why it's unnecessary. We drastically in Star Wars need to get the fuck away from the Skywalkers immediately. In any capacity.
Yeah. I'm fine with a Skywalker saga story here and there, but give me much more that's not Skywalker stuff.
Yeah. Like, why is it so fucking pertinent that we have to I don't know, man. Like, it's I really want to enjoy the series. I really, really do. But every time it gets to a point where they're like, hey, it's really tense for Obi-Wan, who you know what it happens to, or it's really intense for Leia, and I'm like, it's not though. That tension is gone because I know what happens to these characters. Reva's not going to hit Darth Vader. We know that.
No.
When she pulled out the lightsaber, I was like, he's going to stop her. Because I know how Vader dies. I know Vader's story. And I think that's one of the issues I take with the show. At least with Boba Fett, it was presumed he died at the end of at the beginning of Last Jedi or Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So his story being expanded beyond the story that we knew was fine. And
he rode a Rancor, and that was cool.
Yeah. It's just bothersome to me that this show needed to exist, because it's done nothing inherently to enhance the story. Is it fun? Is it neat? Sure. And I'm not complaining in regards to the show existing as a whole. I'm just not getting...
You're not getting the satisfaction that you get from new content in new territory.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good way to put it.
No, I agree.
And this whole episode felt that way. Like, I enjoyed it. But when it does this whole thing where it's like, Obi-Wan has to survive, obviously. So how is he going to get out of this scenario? And which would mean that all the other characters are either A, cannon fodder, or they'll get away. The show's too predictable, is I think a problem for me right now. Because predictability is fine, but too predictable is a problem.
Yeah.
So I think that's where my trouble is with the show, is I don't feel like the stakes are high because they're not. They're just not. For certain characters, there are. You know, is it Telly?
Tala.
Tala. The stakes were high for her, obviously. Like, brand new character put in a show that we never see beyond this show. She's probably going to die.
And she did. Spoiler alert.
It's the fifth. It's the penultimate episode. If people are expecting us to keep spoilers to ourselves, it's a way harder task than you think. But when I watch Rogue One, and I'm watching those characters, I didn't know their fate until the end.
Really? I did.
Oh, I didn't know they were going to die.
Oh, I assumed that they were all going to die.
Spoiler alert for Rogue One, I guess, if you haven't seen that fantastic movie. Watching that movie from the beginning, I didn't know what their goal was. I didn't know what the story that was going to be told. I knew the time, like where it placed into the timeline, but I didn't know what they were actually going to do until I saw the movie in theaters. And I was like, okay, they're going to steal the Death Star plans. And when it came to the realization that they were going to have to die, I was like, oh shit, that's fucking brilliant. That's so fucking cool. Because it allowed us the perfect amount of time to really love this ragtag group of characters that came together as a team, which I fucking love ragtag teams. To have them sacrifice themselves in that way was rad as hell. And I really, really enjoyed that. But those were characters I didn't know their fate going in.
Yeah.
No idea. Even though the story takes place in the middle of the timeline. But I know the fates of fucking like 5 of the characters in this show.
Yeah.
3? 5. Yeah, 5 characters.
7, really.
7? Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
10.
How 10?
You got Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru and Luke on Tatooine.
I'm talking about
with Ben.
I'm talking about consistent to the story characters, because Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru aren't necessarily consistent. Like the guy who played Uncle Owen did a fantastic job in that one.
Yeah, he did. Oh my god.
But still, that fits my point. It fits exactly what I'm saying. Like
then I was going to say Vader, Leia, her parents, R2 and 3PO, which were in the first episode.
Were they?
Yeah.
I forgot. I don't know. I think I made a joke the other night. I hopped into a party to play a couple video games with people or just hang out for like a minute. And I was like, hey guys, I have bad news. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm not a Star Wars fan. And they were like, why? I was like, because I don't hate Star Wars. And they were all kind of like, what does that mean? And I'm like, never mind. But it's kind of true.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just, there's a level of disappointment when it comes to the reaction to the show. Because
absolutely. I've seen a lot of people hating on the show. Not hating on the show so much as they hate on the actress Moses Ingram that plays Reva and her character.
Which is wild because she's my favorite character in the whole show. She's the most interesting to me.
I mean, outside of Scary Vader, yeah.
I'm just glad Scary Vader's there. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's this weird like juxtaposition of I really enjoy the show, but it's not what I want from Star Wars right now. Like Taika Waititi was in an interview recently where he's making his own Star Wars movie. He's making one. He doesn't know if it's going to turn into a trilogy or what the fuck ever, but he wants to tell a new story with new characters in a completely different location away from the Skywalker saga. And his point, which I fucking love, is when you have this giant world to work with, but you stick to one group of people, your story doesn't seem as big anymore.
No.
And I completely fucking agree with him. So I'm excited for what he's got down the pipeline. And I want to see Disney Plus do shows in Star Wars with brand new characters.
Yes.
Like, give us different genres within Star Wars.
Different?
What's that?
You said different?
Sorry. Different shows. I was just talking quickly.
No, it happens.
I don't know. Star Wars fans are the fucking worst, and they have a tendency to ruin fucking Star Wars for me. Because I'm all excited. Like, whenever I watch like a new Marvel show, like we're going to talk about Ms. Marvel next, I tend to go to Twitter and I'm like, oh, what are people saying about it? Like, I kind of want to know. Interesting. And 9 times out of 10, it's mostly positive. A few like negative people are there, but that's, you know, that's going to happen. That's expected. But with Star Wars, it just seems all fucking negative, unless Hayden Christensen's on the screen for like 5 fucking seconds, and then they all jizz their pants, and I'm like,
they weren't doing that 15 years ago.
Well, like what pisses me off about Mandalorian was like Luke shows up at the end of season 2 to pick up Grogu. And what was everybody talking about for weeks after that finale? Luke. Not the fact that what's her ass like has to challenge Mando to the fucking blade, or Moff it was Moff
Gideon.
Was it Gideon?
Mm-hmm.
My brain wanted to say Gideon, but yeah, that Moff Gideon was like almost killed, but not, you know, he was spared, and like nobody was talking about that shit. They were just like, oh my god, Luke was in the fucking. I'm like, I don't.
And don't get me wrong, that was awesome, but the story itself was already awesome. He was just an awesome, welcome addition. But, you know, it was necessary for the story. It wasn't like he was shoehorned in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when he showed up again in Book of Boba Fett for that episode, that was awesome too. But once again, necessary for the story that they're telling, not there for the sake of, oh, we have to have something Skywalker in here.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope that going forward with Star Wars, we can see more stuff. I do enjoy the show, but it's I wanted so much more from it.
And, you know, maybe the finale will deliver us what we want. Who knows?
Well, what I want is a story that doesn't hinge on the fucking Skywalker so strongly.
Well, yeah, we're not going to get that with the finale.
No, we're not. No, we're not. That's kind of what my point is like, we're not. What we're going to get is what we've been getting. What we're going to get is fan service. And maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I don't give a flying rat's ass about fan service anymore. I just don't. Like, if it's anime, sure, because that's boobies, but that was mostly a joke.
Well, technically, that's what fan service is. And that's the thing. People misconstrue the use of fan service. They think just because there's a callback to something that it's fan service, and it's not. Fan service is literally the actual origin of fan service is literally dressing up girls in anime in sexy clothes and showing boobies. That's what fan service originated as.
I was like, that's the first time I ever heard the term fan service was via that. So
yeah.
But
anyway, what grade would you give this?
After everything I said, it's gonna be really funny. An A-.
It was a really well done episode. It was very enjoyable. So yeah, I don't begrudge that grade at all.
No, it's solid. It works really well. There's a lot of character development with certain characters that I give a fuck about, like Reva. We get the reveal of what I had speculated to be her character for a minute, but we get more about her character in regards to her purpose versus just hunting down Obi. I was curious as to why she wanted Obi-Wan so badly. And the kind of twist was I was like, oh, that's neat. I wasn't expecting that aspect to it.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. The guy from Rebels, the Grand Inquisitor guy, him showing up and being like his line of revenge is a what do you say? How do you say that?
Revenge is a great motivator for staying alive.
That's right. Yeah,
something along those lines.
Something along those lines. And I was like, that's really fucking clever. And then her little fight with Vader was fun. His showing of his Force abilities was really cool. But again, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, this is more Skywalker shit.
Do you think she'll survive the finale and we'll get more of her character in the future in some capacity?
No. Kathleen Kennedy has a track record of trying to appease fans. And as of right now, the fans don't really like her. So, which is unfortunate because I think she's a fantastic character. And you know what? I would prefer that she does die at the end of this. Her being a one-off character with an interesting backstory is I don't think that we need to see her again. But I would like to see some sort of sacrificial death. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a noble redemption.
She helps Obi-Wan at the end. That's what I'd like to see. But it also makes sense, realistically speaking. But what did you think? What was your grade?
I'd give it a B. It was really solid, really well done. And I'd say a B plus. It just wasn't quite A-level material for me, but it was nearly there. I kind of wanted a little more stormtrooper slaughter when it came to the path, as they're called.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a few more people get taken out, just up the tragedy a little bit more. But
I had a good laugh at one of the shots of the stormtroopers where they missed like a fuck ton of shots as you would expect, but there was one in the background that walked like right the fuck up to a dude and shot him in his gut and did not miss. And I looked at my dad and I was like, that stormtrooper actually hit his shot. He had to get fucking feet in front of the guy, but he made it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it though. I really loved Scary Vader. Just love seeing anything they do with him in action. Give me, if you're insistent on giving me old characters, give me new Vader stories, because there's so much untapped potential there of things they can do with Vader to show how terrifying he is. You don't have to make a Darth Vader series, but give me new series with new characters in the timeline when he's still alive and show why he was so fucking terrifying.
I think a perfect example of that is
his appearance at the end of Rogue One.
Or I was going to say Fallen Order.
Yeah, that too.
But yes, like I completely agree. But even still, I still just want like completely new characters, completely new location, maybe a timeline different. Like, just give us something else, for crying out loud. Please give us something else.
Well, there's the High Republic content out there, but it's all in, it's not in movie or TV show form yet. It's all in book and comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually we'll get some more stuff.
I hope so. All right, well, let's move on to Miss Marvel episode 2.
Yeah.
there is something I'm going to bring up, but after you get through the synopsis.
All right. Let's see. Now, keep in mind, I'm reading these from Wikipedia. Basically, we see Kamala begins training to learn and control her powers to the best of her ability with Bruno's help. He deduces that the bangle activated her powers, which actually came from within her and not from the bangle itself. We see a lot more of the day-to-day life of Kamala and her family and her friend Nakia. And we see them in temple or mosque. I'm sorry. Sorry for any Muslims out there.
Well,
but
that's actually, I think, a positive thing of the show is it's showing what being in the mosques during service looks like.
yeah, you had the male side and then the female side, and they're partitioned off. And they bring up that, bring up the fact that they're partitioned for modesty and humility. I'm sorry, are you just using your religion to say you can't control yourself around women? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's the intent of the shot. And part of why Nadia is running for, I don't want to say council, but
Yeah, she's basically running for leadership of the mosque board. And we see Kamala, Nakia, and Bruno go to a party that was organized by Zoe, the popular girl who was saved by Kamala at the end of the first episode of Avengers Con, who started blowing up on her Instagram and getting more followers. They meet a new exchange student at school, Kamran, who seems to have an eye for Kamala, and she definitely has an eye for him.
yeah.
They make friends, they exchange numbers. Bruno, of course, is frustrated with her infatuation with Kamran and doesn't like the fact that Kamran got everybody's name right but his, called him Brian,
Yeah.
which was funny. He also gets accepted into, what was it, Caltech?
Yes.
And his guidance counselor's like, "You got into Caltech. This is awesome. This is the part in the story where the main character is given this quest and you accept it." And, obviously it's funny because he's a side character. But he's like, "I need to think about it." And he wants to talk to Kamala about it. And of course, she doesn't make time for him because she's going to spend time with Kamran because he's going to take her out in his uncle's nice car and teach her to drive. You know, they attend Eid, which is, I'm not sure what it is.
Let me look it up while you're reading the rest of the synopsis. I'll look it up.
But before they attend that, they have a family. They show Kamala at a family dinner, and she has a vision. She blacks out during the dinner and has a vision. And she calls her grandmother and asks about her grandmother's mother, her great grandmother. Turns out her name's Aisha, but nobody will speak about her because apparently she brought great shame to the family. But she was the original owner of the bangle. But even her Kamala's grandmother says no. She brought shame upon the family. I won't speak about it. Her mother tells her the same thing. Let's see.
Eid Mabrak is a Arabic term that means blessed festival. The term is used by Arab Muslims as well as non-Arab Muslims all over the world. Internationally, Muslims use it as a greeting for use on the feast. In the social sense, people usually celebrate Eid al-Fitr after Ramadan and Eid al-Adha in the month of, I'm going to butcher this, Dhul Hajjah which is the 12th and final Islamic month.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Well, they go to a festival. It was bright. It was colorful. There was lots of foods. There was entertainment. There was, you know, um, socializing. It looked like a good time. At this festival, though, a young boy is taking pictures in the top of a tower out in an open window and falls, and everybody sees it when he's screaming for help. And Kamala rushes to save him. Somehow, she had her costume nearby on hand. Uh, didn't see her carrying and toting a backpack around. I don't recall, but yeah, she shows up in costume and uses her powers to awkwardly save him, even though she kind of fucks up during the saving him process, and he ends up falling on top of a car and hurting himself. But she at least slowed his descent enough to where he didn't die, as he would have been surely dead had she not arrived to help.
Right.
So she's horrified, mortified at her actions. She leaves, and as she is leaving, she gets confronted by the Department of, what is it? The DODC. What are they? Damage Control. Department
of Damage Control.
They try to apprehend her, and she gets away, and it's a car being driven by Kamran, and he says, "Oh, I'd like for you to meet my mom," and it's the woman that she was seeing in her visions in the episode, and that's how the episode ended.
I love this episode, genuinely.
Yeah,
it was super nice to kind of like. It's not like it's kind of lighthearted Marvel right now, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, the stakes aren't super high. It's just, I don't know, it's fun. I'm just enjoying it for its kind of lightheartedness.
And it's a coming of age story from a teenage girl's perspective.
Right.
A very strict, very religious household. Obviously, even though it is a strict and religious household, she does have a loving family, and they're a close, tight-knit family. But yeah, I like how she's like, okay, tired of all these old traditions, I kind of want to break away from some of that in her own way. It's fun and it's enjoyable, but yet there's this whole, wow, you've got some type of power and it's emanating from inside you, but it's being activated by this bangle, so there's that mystery. I'm enjoying the show. I really do like it.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of people pissed off online.
No.
And not for the reason you think, though.
Oh, yeah?
Why would you think people would be pissed off at this episode? Just out of curiosity.
Well, it depends on their skin color.
No,
I was going to say if it's white people and they're angry, it's because brown people are being featured.
No.
Okay.
You would think that's the case, especially with, an entire Muslim celebration. You'd think that'd be the case. Nope.
What was it?
It was for the same reason people were pissed off at turning red. Because a tampon was showed on screen.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
When she was in the stall and she wasn't feeling well because she was freaking out because her powers were in there, and her friend Nakia is like, "Here, you're not feeling okay? I got a tampon." You're serious? People are upset because they showed a tampon in a wrapper on fucking screen.
Yep.
People can fuck off and just jump in tire fires. I'm serious.
It was weird. It was very.
It's not
weird.
like it was fucking used. And even then, I wouldn't be angry. I'd be like, ew.
Yeah, it was. I saw that online. I saw people being like, we don't need to be showing that online. Like, we know that teenage girls, go through that, but we don't need to know about it. I'm like, what is wrong with you? The fuck is wrong with you?
Jesus Christ.
Because I fully expected fully expected people to be pissed off at the, like, why do we have to see a Muslim celebration? Da, 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 da. Fully expected that. Not a single person I saw saying that. It was two camps that did not like the episode. They shouldn't have expressed that entire scene that Nadia and her had in the bathroom, because, Nadia was basically talking about how obviously her family's not Muslim, but she is.
Mm-hmm.
And when she started going through puberty, her parents don't talk to her as often, and people were just like, no, and I'm like, at least they're not being prejudiced against Muslims. Progress?
No, it's not progress. They're just finding something else to focus their anger on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's hilariously stupid. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I really like that there's this nice representation now. That people of Eastern European descent. Not Eastern European, I'm sorry.
Middle Eastern?
South Asian is what I was trying to say. Because they're not Middle East. They're straight up South Asian.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, because there is a difference now. And not now, there always has been, but we just clumped them all into Middle East. Yeah, because Pakistan is...
well, it borders India. It used to be part of India.
Right. But yeah, people are dumb as shit. That's as simple as I get that in any context. But yeah, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was really nice to kind of show Kamala instead of a story of a character having superpowers and them kind of going through that. Now we get to see from this angle, and it's awesome. It's really cool. I'm really happy with it. I don't have any other words. The episode is actually fairly simple too, because we don't get a ton. If that makes sense.
No, you don't get a lot. You see, more of the daily life aspect and what her family life is like, and I find it to be immensely enjoyable.
Yeah.
The scene where her and Kamran are sitting in that little cafe and they're trying to hide from her brother. That was a nice little moment. And then, of course, he shows up and she's like, oh, hey, this is our cousin. And he's like, what? Oh, I remember you.
Yeah.
Her brother's not the brightest. It was funny. And her brother's fiance clearly knew, which was amusing. I really enjoyed that, though. But yeah, I'd give this episode an A. It's very solid, very enjoyable.
I would have liked a little bit more explanation into her powers in this episode.
Yeah,
but I know we're getting it next episode, but I would have liked a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll probably get that a lot more in depth in the upcoming episode this next week.
I did see somebody say that they thought it was weird that people were going to a convention for the Avengers in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because in their world, they would look at that as like this big, nasty event and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, some people do. Some people do look at it from that perspective. They see this event as a bad thing and fight against it. We saw that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We saw that in there's another show we saw that in.
Hawkeye.
But anyway, yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah, we saw that in Hawkeye. There's the fallout of that kind of stuff. But there would still be people who kind of idolize the Avengers, and
which we also saw in Hawkeye with the musical.
Yeah, that was my point exactly. Was that like, because somebody was like, it's really weird that they would have a convention, and I'm like, it's not that weird. I mean, there was a fucking musical in Hawkeye. I don't know. I've seen people do weirder in our world. So,
Yes.
but yeah. So, really enjoyed it. Like I said, really dug it. I can't wait to see next week. Next week's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. I know it's going to be because the girl who's playing Kamala, Iman Vellani.
Shit, I just closed the tab that I was looking at, or I'd be able to tell you her name.
I think it's Iman Vellani, but she nails the fucking role perfectly.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, well, let's move on to The Boys, season 3, episode 4. Do you have a synopsis ready for that?
I do. This episode was titled "Glorious 5-Year Plan." And it's been a week since I watched it, so I'm trying to remember, as much as I can about it. So I'm going to read the synopsis. That's from Wikipedia once again here. The episode breakdown. We see Butcher meet with Little Nina and negotiates to have the boys taken to Russia in exchange for killing an assigned target. Upon learning of the V-24, Hughie asks Butcher to let him use it. Butcher refuses, but Hughie secretly injects himself with a dose. You okay?
Yeah, I just had to adjust my ass.
Oh. Do you need a minute?
No, we're good. I just have to stretch and move around while you're talking.
All right. As the boys infiltrate a secret laboratory, which turns out to be a military base on appearance, they're overwhelmed by Russian soldiers until Butcher and Hughie use their V-24 powers. And then they open a pod, discovering a still living soldier boy who releases an energy blast that renders Kimiko powerless and wounded, and she's not healing. Now, they retreat to stabilize her while Soldier Boy escapes. Now, on the American side of things, Victoria Newman holds a press conference to address the Homelander situation. And Stan Edgar is expecting her to announce fines and reprimands against Homelander. And she basically betrays him by publicly accusing him of committing crimes. And in return, Homelander provides Victoria Newman with a dose of Compound V, which she injects into her daughter. It's apparently because she doesn't want anything to happen to her daughter, and she wants to protect her. Starlight recruits Maeve and her ex-boyfriend, Alex. What was his name? His superhero name? Do you even remember? Supersonic?
Yeah, Supersonic. Yeah.
To help her stand up to Homelander. He attempts to do the same with A-Train after witnessing A-Train just being absolutely berated by Homelander in the Deep. Later on in the episode, we see Homelander confront Starlight with Alex's mangled remains, having killed him after A-Train informed that, there are people trying to take Homelander down. He's like, you know what? Fuck with me again. That'll be Hughie. So
He's like, say it. So I want to hear you say it. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And she's like, that'll be Hughie. He's like, you're damn right. So basically now Homelander is essentially in charge and running fucking the whole show. He's in control of Vought. He's running Vought.
Yeah.
Which makes his assistant, fucking Ashley, basically the second highest in command now, because I love her fucking annoying ass character.
Oh yeah, no,
she's delightfully hysterical.
It's pretty funny.
But yeah, we had a lot happen.
We did. There was a ton that happened in this episode.
Like when Kamiko went into the fucking posing as the escort to go into her target's home posing as the escort, and then all those girls were in there, and she took him out.
Well, she didn't just take them out because
no, she took him out with the fucking black noir dildo or whatever it was, because he had superhero themed dildos. There was like a Homelander one, there was a black noir one, there was a Maeve one, there was a Starlight one, and it was funny that she was fighting his guards with those dildos. It was hilarious. But I forgot that she had the regenerative powers. So when that one chick shot her in the fucking head, I was like, oh, fuck. And then the bullet popped out and she got up and was like, oh, yeah, she heals. Because it had been a while since I'd seen that shit. I had forgotten.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I think the only reason they did that is to give you a reminder, yeah, she can heal. But when Soldier Boy fucked her up and she wasn't healing, that made for a tense situation.
And I think that was intentional to show us because we knew that the Russians had a gun that could take out a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
His blast hitting her, I think, is meant to show us that
the weapon's not a gun, the weapon's him.
Yeah. The gun is him. The gun is him because it can blast at his chest. But, I think the other aspect is if that doesn't kill Kimiko, how is it going to kill Homelander?
Exactly. So I don't know if she's going to survive. Her fate is definitely in the balance.
Well, and that's the other thing. The boys are not in a good place either. With everything that happened. And
yeah,
MM and Frenchie and Kimiko finding out that both Hughie and Butcher have taken V24 on top of everything that's been going on. There's a massive lack of trust right now.
Yeah.
It's like MM says at the end of the episode, it's over. And I'm like, yeah, I get why it would be. And we're episode 4 of 9, 4 of 10.
I only think there's 6 episodes this season.
No.
It's all Wikipedia showing.
Hold on. I'm going to the boys on IMDb. There's no way there's only 6 this season. There's 8.
There's 8. Well, there's
only
8 than 6. So
yeah, because still less than I thought. Yeah, so this was mid-season. Next episode is titled "The Last Time to Look at This World of Lies," and then episode 6 is "Herogasm."
Yeah, that's all it shows past up to the Wikipedia entry that I'm looking at.
The last 2 episodes are titled "Here Comes a Candle to Light You to Bed," which is episode 7, and then 8 is "The Instant White Hot Wild."
Nice.
So I'm in to win it. This episode gets an A+ for me, by the way, just because an unleashed, unhinged Homelander is terrifying and entertaining. Straight up.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't stress this enough. When you take the heroes of a story, whether they're anti-heroes or not, which, let's be honest, the boys are anti-heroes, and you put their backs against a wall and you give them a problem to solve that is seemingly impossible to solve, you have an excellent fucking story.
Oh, yes.
So I'm so excited for where the rest of the season is going to go. I cannot get enough of this show. It's so good.
Well, I mean, out of the 3 things that we're currently watching, I think it's the best thing we're watching.
Oh yeah.
Not to slight the other 2 things in the least, because I'm thoroughly enjoying those as well. But the boys,
when I'm doing A- to an A to an A+,
yeah,
everything we watched this week was good. So
absolutely. But yeah, I absolutely give this episode an A+ as well. Just the level of heart that this show has.
There's a line that can never pronounce his first name correctly. Giancarlo Esposito. I could Esposito all day, but his first name throws me for some reason. He had a piece of dialogue at the end of this where he basically calls the superheroes, they're not bad guys or bad people, they're bad product. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And kudos to Anthony, the guy who plays fucking Homelander. The subtle Anthony Starr. The fucking subtle like twitches on his face where you're like, he's mad, but he can't show it. He has to be stoic, but you can tell. God, man, like the dude, he's killing it. Oh, the show is so good. So fucking well constructed. Anyway, well, is that going to do it for it? Do you have any more thoughts, or do you want to call it?
No, we'll wrap it up there because there's more, but I don't want to spoil much more than we already have.
Okay, that's good. Well, as Maya said, that's going to do it for this week. Next week is Obi-Wan finale. Obi-Wan Kenobi finale. I don't know why I can't say the whole title of the show. Like I'm on a first name basis with the guy. Miss Marvel episode 3, The Boys season 3 episode 5, and from the creators of American Vandal, one of the first things we ever reviewed on this podcast. They have a new show on Paramount Plus called Players, which looks fucking hilarious. And it's getting great reviews, by the way. Like, people are saying it's one of the funniest shows they've ever seen, so I'm very excited. But yeah, we're going to review those, the first 3 episodes, I believe, of the show. I think. But anyway, I didn't double check that, so whatever. Guys, make sure you follow us on all the socials, which are listed below. We'll try to keep you updated if we add anything to the show. So you can watch what we're reviewing. Check out the Teespring store. You can find merch like t-shirt, pint glass, coffee mug, sticker. Remember that all the proceeds go directly into the podcast, which is a current thing that's happening now.
And hey, I'd really personally appreciate you buying any merch right now because I just had to replace my interface and headphone cables, and that comes out of pocket.
Yep. To watch the live broadcast of this show, head on over to the YouTube channel. The link is below. If you're looking for more podcasts to listen to, go check out the Nirvana Network. It's where you can hear a plethora of different podcasts with interesting people talking about interesting things and nerdy shit you care about. But again, that's Nirvana Network. That's it for my notes. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name. It's a public profile. And also linked to that public profile are my Twitter and Instagram accounts. If you want to choose to follow me at all 3 of those places, that's the one-stop shop to do so. You can also catch me on another show called Figure Banging on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel every other Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a live-action figure review show. If that's your kind of thing, check it out sometime. We always interact with the live chat and cut up and have a good time. That's where you can find me. What about you, Greg?
You can find me under Chubruck Geek under all socials. Do you remember a small segment I used to do on the podcast with Anthony called a Geek Lose, or not a Geek Losing It, but where I would basically like get angry about things and kind of go off?
Uh-huh.
I think I'm going to do that again for the All Queued Up YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm tired of more.
Why you're wrong.
Oh, that's what it's called. Yeah, Why You're Wrong. It's so frustrating, man. Like, Star Wars fans, you're the fucking worst. Straight up. I'm looking right at the camera. I don't care. You're the fucking worst. But that's it. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. Again, you got 4 shows to watch this week: Obi-Wan, Miss Marvel, The Boys, and Players. Fuck the GOP. Fuck the NRA. Donate and help where you can. We'll see you next week.
Happy Pride Month. Take care, everybody.